And so this morning I wanted to have a conversation about in unity we stand. I'm going to start that off with a little bit of a story. So I have a neighbor of mine, his name is J.R. Pittman, and J.R. is a black minister in the city of Grand Rapids. And the other night, a couple of weeks ago, I saw him at his truck and he was grabbing a big box, and it looked like he might have needed some help. And I went over to talk to him and I said, "Hey JR, how are you doing?" And he stopped dead in his tracks and he leaned against the truck. And he said, "Man," he goes, "I'm not doing good." And so we had this conversation and he just opened up and he shared his thoughts, his concerns, his fears about everything that's going on right now. And he said, "Mike, there's got to be a better way. We got to do a better job. We can't keep doing this." And so we sat there and talked and we shared for a few minutes about that, about doing a better job, doing things maybe differently, really looking at what's going on and trying to make a difference and make it better. What was so fascinating is a couple of days later, all of a sudden on my Facebook page, I see his picture and he's doing a Facebook Live. And I clicked on it and he's telling a story how he was driving a couple of days after we had spoke, and he was driving by East Grand Rapids High School, and he noticed that there was a group of policemen out, and they were doing something. They were coming together. It looked like they were talking, and they were doing some stuff together. And JR was driving by there, and all of a sudden he felt like he had a message from God that said, "You need to go back there. You need to go back there." And he didn't know why, but he just followed his instincts. And he went back into the parking lot, got out of his car, walked up to this group of officers, not knowing exactly what he was going to be doing. And it was at that time that it occurred to him that it was important for him, it was important what he felt like the message was to tell the police officers how much he believed in them still and how much he needed them and how grateful he was. It was such a simple gesture. It was so simple. And as he was telling the story, you could tell that what happened as a result of it was the police officers came together, they high-fived him, they sat there and talked to him, and they just so greatly appreciated this African-American person coming up to this group of primarily white officers and sharing that moment with them to let them know that he still cared and he still believed in them. And as I watched this, it was an incredible story. And I thought to myself, that's just it. That in order for us to get through these difficult times, what it's going to take is really more than ever, it's this idea of unity. Unity. And as I started thinking about that, then all of a sudden what came to mind was, well, we're called unity. How did this whole thing get started, and what can we do with that message? Where can we take this? How can we do something with this in terms of these times, right here, right now, with everything that's going on, the craziness that's going on? And as I thought about it, I thought about Charles. For those of you that don't know, unity wasn't the first thing out of their mouth. Actually, Charles, after they had already been doing their thing for several years, all of a sudden they weren't 100% sure what they were going to call it. They didn't. And so what happened is Charles had this inspiration, and it was a flash of inspiration in terms of what happened, in terms of him having this understanding, like this is what we need to call this movement. Because you got to remember, and I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, is that what happened was with Myrtle going through her healing, and then Charles all of a sudden getting on fire after Myrtle did it. Because what happened is, as they started working with this, there were some things that they understood, and the one thing that they understood was real simple. If they could have the same experience, they believed if they could do it, that anybody could. Anybody could have that same transformational experience. Because what did they do? they let go of this idea of separation. They let go of this illusion of separation. And so I made this little drawing, which the old paradigm, the old belief is, we think there's this thing called God that's out there, and we think that we may be connected to it, but we're not so sure about everybody else that's out there. And so there's this, what I call the illusion of separation, and other people refer to it as well, is where we think that every single part of this thing, that we're completely 100% separate. And what the Fillmores did, first of all, is they realized there's no separation whatsoever. And so again, I did a little diagram here where I show you, if you look at it, so we've got you, and then what Unity and the Fillmores believed is that then all of a sudden there's all this connection with all others, and then if you take it to the next degree, then all of a sudden we have God. And the truth is, when you look at this diagram, what you understand is that we're all connected. That the truth is, in truth, and this is what the Fillmores realized more than any, is that in unity, we're all one. There is no separation, none, that existed. And the Fillmores knew that. And as they continued to live their lives and they continued to have these experiences, what they honestly believed is, we don't care where you come from. When you walk in these doors, we don't care. We don't care what the color of your skin is. We don't care what your sexual orientation is. We don't care, even, believe it or not, is opposite of what everybody says. We don't care what your religion is. We don't even care. Now look, Unity does have and does study the life of Jesus and the beautiful example that Jesus gave us. We believe that. We follow that. But we also honor and respect all other forms of beliefs and thought systems. We do. We don't think we have all the answers. We think we got a lot of them, but it's okay. And so, if you remember right, Unity actually started is the Fillmores didn't want to start a church at all. In fact, when Unity first got started, they would meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon so that you could go to whatever church that you wanted to. And then you could come together and start talking about what? What did they talk about that combined and connected all of us? Universal principles and universal laws, because they knew deep inside that we all had a piece of this divinity within us, that we were all connected. We all came from the same place. We all are connected. We all are one. That was why they did it. They don't care if there's other beliefs. We are going to honor and respect them. And yes, we do follow, pay attention to, study this life of this amazing teacher, this master called Jesus, but we also acknowledge there were other ones. We also acknowledge that there's other beautiful truths. And that way we're able to honor and respect and live in harmony, unity with each other. So one of Unity's big messages is, you're welcomed here. No matter what. No matter what, you are welcomed at Unity. And that is something that we've said ever since Charles and Myrtle started this, that you are welcome here. We welcome you. You will be loved, you will be honored, you will be respected, you will be held, you will be heard, you'll be comforted, all of the above. And that's where Unity came from. Now, having said that, there was a couple of other things that we did in terms of, well, how do we pull this unity thing off that I want to speak into for just a minute? Oh, let me back up for just a second. So there's some other great people who've also knew and understood this. Black Elk said, the first piece, which is the most important, is that which comes within the soul of people when they realize the relationship, their oneness with the universe and all its powers. And they realize that at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit, and that this center is really where everywhere it is within each of us. So he knew that we are all connected. We also have Mahatma Gandhi. And what does he say? I offer you peace, I offer you love, I offer you friendship, I see your beauty, I hear your need, I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows through the highest source. I salute that source within you. Let us work together for unity and love. That was Mahatma Gandhi. Just such a beautiful quote. And then Buddha. Very short, very simple, very powerful. In separateness lies the world's great suffering, and unity lies the world's true strength. You see, all of the masters, all of the teachers knew that we were all one. And they also believed strongly in this idea of unity. We've got to do that with each other. We've got to do this together. And as a basis of that, now I'm going to talk about this idea of love, or the power of love. So I want to spend a few minutes talking about that. This idea that the truth is, love is real. Love is powerful. Love is an amazing thing. And all of the masters talked about that. Everybody from every walk of life talked about that. Martin Luther King, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only love can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. He knew. He knew. What did Fillmore say? Love in divine mind is the idea of universal unity, an expression. It is the power that joins and binds together the universe and everything in it. It's the power that joins and binds together the universe and everything in it. Love is a harmonizing, constructive power. When it is made in consciousness, it conserves substance and reconstructs, rebuilds, and restores us to our world. Fillmore knew that there was power in this thing called love. And from Corinthians 13, I'm going to read something I just think is so beautiful. If I speak in tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions and I hand over my body, so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, it believes all things, it hopes all things, it endures all things. Love never ends, but as far as prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became adult, I put an end to the childish way. For now we see in a mirror, dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide. These three, and the greatest of these is love. The greatest of these is love. Such a beautiful teaching. Emmett Fox, one of the main pioneers in New Thought movement, also had a saying about love that I thought was just really, really beautiful in terms of how powerful it can be, this thought, this concept of love. There's something that he calls the Golden Gate, and it's a spiritual treatment. And in that treatment, he says, there's no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Pray for the understanding of divine love and meditate upon it daily. It is a fulfilling of the law. It covers a multitude of mistakes. Love is absolutely invincible. It's invincible. I think that we forget that sometimes. You know, we talk about love, and sometimes we talk about it very flippantly. But what these people, all of these people knew was that how powerful love is. Like, it is a thing that can do amazing things. And when we look out into our own lives and we see everything that's going on, especially when we look out and we read the newspapers and see what's going on, I think we forget about love sometimes. And you have to understand, love is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. It can do a lot of things. But what happens is it kind of gets blurred out. Because certainly you're not seeing about it in the media these days or hearing it about it anywhere. And we forget about it. And my hope is that just talking about it for a few minutes, don't forget, folks, we've got love. This amazing, powerful, simple tool. And yet, sometimes we can forget to use it. The other thing that I want to talk about today in terms of a spiritual tool that can help us through times like this is the power of forgiveness. Why is forgiveness such an amazing thing? I found a quote that I thought was just so beautiful. Forgiveness is the power that breaks the chains of bitterness and anger and sets you free from the shackles of your own prison. It sets you free from the shackles of your own prison. Might want to pay attention and think about using forgiveness, right? With ourselves and with each other. Yeah. Martin Luther King, we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power of love. I never really thought about it, but if you think about it, it's almost the exact opposite of it. So in other words, if you're thinking and wanting to use love, it's almost like you have to have a forgiveness practice, otherwise it's going to be very difficult to be able to love. So I just really, really love the quote. Fillmore actually had a treatment. It was called the forgiveness treatment. But to show you what he felt about it, listen to this. Here's a mental treatment that is guaranteed to cure every ill that flesh is heir to. He believed that strongly in it. Every illness that flesh is heir to. Sit for a half hour every night and mentally forgive everyone against whom you've had any ill will or antipathy. If you fear or if you are prejudiced against even an animal, mentally ask for forgiveness of it and send it thoughts of love. If you have accused anyone of injustice, if you have discussed anyone unkindly, if you have criticized or gossiped about anyone, withdraw your words by asking him or her in the silence to forgive you. If you had a falling out with friends or relatives, if you are at law or engaged in contention with anyone, do everything in your power to end the separation. Do it. See all things and all persons as they really are, pure spirit. And send them your strongest thoughts of love. Do not go to bed any night feeling that you had an enemy in the world. Clearly, Fillmore knew the importance of forgiveness. My strongest recommendation is to consider having an active, lively forgiveness practice as part of your spiritual practice. It's imperative. Because you know what? Just being honest, we all get upset and frustrated with each other at times. It just happens. It's part of living on this third dimensional planet. And when you're able to have a forgiveness practice, you're able to let go of it. And you're able to remember what I keep coming back to, which is we are all one. And we're all just trying to figure this out. Granted, that looks a lot different depending on who and what you are, but the truth is, we're all one. And if we can come back to that, and forgiveness is one of the primary tools that we can use, then we can stay and remember that we're all one. Unity. How about Jesus? What did Jesus say about forgiveness? This is a very popular quote. Then Peter came to him and said, Lord, if another member of the church sins against me, how often should I forgive? As many as 7 times? And of course, Jesus says, no, not 7, but 7 times 7. 77. And so let's look at that for just a minute. Does Jesus really mean, do it 77 times? And the answer is no. Remember, in unity, we're going to always do a metaphysical interpretation. So what does that mean? 7 times 70 is a number that represents boundlessness. In other words, do it endlessly. Don't ever stop forgiving. There's a quote I love in truthunity.net. It says this: it is through forgiveness that true spiritual healing is accomplished. Forgiveness removes the errors of the mind and body. Harmony results in consonance with divine law. Again, so we use forgiveness as one of the primary tools to remember our unity with each other. And that's how we do it. So when we talk about this idea or this thought of unity, we talk about this thing that really brings us together. So how can we apply this? What can we do in our own lives to make this happen? What should we do with what's going on? And so what I want to do with you this morning is just pause for a minute, because my belief is that when we take a few minutes just to get quiet, and we're able to just go into the silence, and we're able to ask, what is mine to do? And see what Spirit is calling of you. See what it's saying for you to do in these times. See how it means for you to get engaged. And that's going to look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. There is no right or wrong answers here. If you're called to go out there and do something, and you want to go out there and be part of the demonstrations, as long as they're peaceful, then great, go do that. Maybe it's engaging in some community activities. Great. Go do that. Maybe you're meant to just hold space and hold love and understanding and appreciation for everything that's going on. So everybody is going to come to this moment, is going to come and be a part of this thing in their own way, to the highest level of what they're called to. And so what I want to do with you this morning is I just want to spend a few moments in quiet, in a meditation, quiet everything down, have you connect with the silence, and see what's there for you. And so I'm going to ask you just to pause for a moment. Close your eyes. I love just starting off going into the silence with taking a few deep breaths in and out. So just take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it out. And one more deep breath in and let it out. And just slow everything down. Let the thoughts of the day just stop for a moment. Become present. Imagine yourself connecting with something that's way bigger than you, way bigger than me. You're taking a moment to connect. with the divine. And even if you've never done this before, just trust. Just slow down. Imagine yourself that there's this energy that's out there. Far greater than yourself. That we can connect with. That we're all part of. And you can just be in this silence. And just understand that it's always here. This connection is always here. The oneness is always here. The love is always here. And when you can just slow down for a few moments, you're able to connect. And now maybe just in your own way, a simple question of asking, what is mine to do? How do I fit in this? What would love look like to me? What would forgiveness look like to me? Just be in the moment. See what's there for you. You don't have to make anything happen. Just trust. And then when you're ready, maybe say thank you, or whatever else you feel like you need to do to be complete. And then start to come back to the room. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your hands. Slowly open your eyes. Then welcome back. I really hope that you were able to relax for just a moment and really tap into your own sense of oneness. I really hope that as you go throughout the rest of your day, that you're able to pause for just a moment and understand that we really are all one. Going back to the Fillmores, this idea of unity, the entire concept, is just a never-ending belief in the power of one and the power of unity. and taking tools out there to be able to use to remember that connection on such a deep, deep level. The only way that we're going to get through what's going on right now is together. In unity, we stand. Remember that. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. I really hope that it's been helpful. I really hope that we're able to move forward at this moment and understand that we can make a difference, that we are making a difference, in whatever way that looks for you. So thank you again for coming. We hope you join us next week. And God bless. God bless. Bless you.